So Trey, I hope you had a good 4th of July. Jerv, thanks for being with us today. We're gonna talk about this new Paul George podcast just came out, and want to kind of get your thoughts, Jerv. We'll talk about that later. But we've got a live show counting down. We're less than 2 weeks away. 2 Saturdays from now, we will be in New York at Racket, July 20th. If you
need me
haven't
to pick you up,
bring out the Benzito,
okay,
for me. Appreciate it. Or the Maybach,
gotcha.
either one. I'll take a Maybach
Okay.
too. It just
I
seems
got
like
you.
a gas guzzler if you don't have to do it in the summer, but appreciate that. We're gonna have the red carpet treatment for VIPs. There are still tickets available for general admission, and also if you want to hang out with us, go check out VIP status. We'll get you in through the back door for an early. Don't say pause, Trey. For a meet and greet with the talent, for all of us with the crew. We've got open doors early for VIP, and then there's general admission, but that's July 20th. Count the Dings live show, the Jade Hoy reunion. We're gonna get the whole crew out. We've got some special guests beyond Trey, beyond Waz, beyond Amin and Zach, and Jerv and Maze. We've got Nick Wright. We've got Bomani Jones, Pablo Torre, Naima Cochran is going to be there. Henry Abbott, Jared's going to be there. Who else is going to be there? We got Eden Liu will be there. Shout out to Eden. Who else are we going to be there? Is that I'm missing some people, I'm guessing. Oh, Ethan Strauss. Ethan sounds like he's going to make the trip. So we'll get the OG podcast together. We're going to do a few sets. I can't wait for it. And I'm hopeful that there's going to be some air conditioning because I sweated a lot during this 4th of July weekend. And Trey, when under those bright lights, sometimes it looks like you're sweating. So hopefully we got some AC up in that racket.
Yeah, we good.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other surprise or Trey you're working on for the live show on July 20th?
No, I'm just making a couple calls, trying to see who can pull up, things of that nature. But we'll see.
A lot of times you just gotta like day of, like, yo, are you in town? Yeah, come through, right?
Oh, you here?
That's how Seth Curry came about, right? When we did a live
Yes.
show, you were just like, yo, Seth, you out here in Oakland? Let's go.
Yeah, he was like, I'll be there.
Mhm.
Delayed, but he was there. He came. He was right on time. He was right on time for sure.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see who else we can add to the list. But I appreciate everyone for listening to the Coming Home podcast. On Mondays, we've got lots to talk about. The Paul George contract negotiations with the Clippers. We will get to that in a little bit. And Jerv, our Philly correspondent, will be joining us for that discussion. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the DeMar DeRozan coming home to California. It's Northern California, but still. Sacramento made a sign and trade deal with a 3-team deal with Chicago to get DeMar DeRozan over to that squad. And also the Spurs, sneaky move by the Spurs here to get Harrison Barnes and the 2031 pick swap, which I got some hot takes for that. So we'll discuss that. But first, Team USA. This is gonna be fun. Like I'm locked in now. My daughters have been watching gymnastics and a lot of the floor routines and the bars and the balance beam, and they're hype. We got Simone Biles and the rest of the crew. It's been on constantly in our house. I feel like they need to make this select game or the scrimmages. They need to broadcast that publicly. Like, why is it only social media clips? I feel like this would be 100%. Everybody would be locked in for Cooper Flag, Pajemski, a bunch of guys, NBA guys who are facing off against the best in these scrimmages. I feel like, Trey, this was really good that we should have been able to watch.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make it seem like they don't want to give their plays and stuff to the opposing team or give them a good look. But again, you're right. I would love to see a scrimmage over Summer League anytime. The quote unquote biggest draw of the California Cook Classic was not great. It was not great. I watched one game and I was very bored. So again, it's tough, man. But I'm enjoying the clips. You know what I mean? I got a chance to talk to Durant a little bit and just trying to get a feel of everything. And he's like, man, it's just elite basketball right now. Everybody's in a good space. All come and go, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the best thing, especially for people that love to hoop like him, Bron, Steph, Anthony Edwards. The list goes on. Most of that group though really loves basketball. So it's kind of crazy to think that like Devin Booker is like in his 10th year. And like this is Steph's first Olympics. And you know, like Kawhi, what is his role going to be there? And just different things. Like, I mean, you just, you know, I'm interested to see, you know, they have Embiid as their starting center. Like, how do they include him? And then also, who will be the leading scorer of that team? My early predictions are Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards. But
I think
who knows?
that's a good call there.
Yeah.
We've got the roster just came out. I mean the group play. Did you see this?
I seen
Who's in
it.
our group?
I
Woo.
seen it. We got a tough one, honestly. It's not a cakewalk. I mean, I know on paper, you can put a group of players together and you feel like this is going to roll. But this starting lineup has yet to play FIBA basketball together, especially if Steph Curry's predicted as the point guard. And we got LeBron James at the 3. We got Devin Booker at the 2. Kevin Durant at the 4 and Joel Embiid at the 5. I like it, but again, adjusting to these rules because this is also Embiid's first Olympics. You know what I mean? So the things that they would be catered to in NBA play sometimes hurts them in Olympic play. So because I watched Damian Lillard struggle, I watched a couple other guys struggle, and it took them a couple games to kind of get reacclimated with it. So it's interesting, but I'm excited about the Jokic and Embiid matchup potentially when we face off with Serbia. And then Group A. Group A got some heavy hitters.
Let's go through it. So Group A is Canada, Spain, Greece, Australia. So you got Giannis in the same group with Spain. And then also the Canadian team might be the second best, if not the best,
On paper.
when it's all said and done, Olympic team. So Canada, of course, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Dylan Brooks. They got a squad and a half. Andrew Wiggins will not be going as of this recording. The Golden State Warriors and them mutually, quote unquote, mutually agreed to have him stay back and not participate in the Olympics. I don't know how mutual that actually was, but that's Group A. So I expect Canada and Spain to come out of that. But shouts to my Greek national team. They made it. And Giannis was really emotional for that. So shout out to my Greek brothers for making the Olympic group. And then Group B, we got Brazil, France, Germany, and Japan. Japan made it. How about that? I didn't expect to see Japan over there, but
I haven't seen a roster, but isn't Rui playing with them? Man, I got some hitters,
yes,
man.
yeah.
I got some hitters. I ain't look at their roster, but I'm pretty sure they got some good representation and maybe some dual citizenship over there now. No, you never know.
So Japan will have Rui Hachimura and Yuta Watanabe, NBA
Okay.
player as well.
Okay.
So they'll be going in that Group B. I expect France and I'll go with Germany coming out of that group. Group C.
See,
What'd you say?
I was gonna say Germany is a sleeper. Like the teams like those teams, like they are like deep because they have like chemistry. That's the thing. Like some of these guys been playing on the circuit level to pro level since they were 14 years old. They know each
Mm-hmm.
other. So like that's the thing that I don't think fans kind of contribute to that. Like that shit matters. The same thing is just kind of like association. Yes, we have all our stars and you know, some of them are going to adjust and some of them it's going to take a few games to adjust, but chemistry is key. It's the same thing with the NBA offseason where you acquire somebody and you just think like roll out the ball and we're going to dominate. And that's like, That's not the case immediately. And you're wondering why you're dropping to a game to the Charlotte Hornets or the San Antonio Spurs, which the big three in Phoenix found out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They took a loss early, and he was like, "Oh, they were supposed to blast them," and it's like, hold on, you know, you got to iron some stuff out. So, yeah, chemistry is king.
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder, Franz Wagner leading the German team, and so that's Group B. Group C that we're in is Team USA. We've got Serbia. So Bogdan Bogdanovic and Nikola Jokic going against the Americans, the Yanks.
Mm-hmm.
You also have South Sudan in the Group C play. And in that Group C, we also have Puerto Rico. So
Jose
Alvarado and it was cool to see
yeah.
Carlos Arroyo when they won their game to qualify recently the other day. They got, Carlos Arroyo is the coach, and he was tears were flowing. That dude was very emotional when Alvarado gave him a big hug after the game. So it means a lot to these countrymen who this is, I think, bigger than winning an NBA championship for a lot of these guys.
That's number one
for the Olympics.
It's number one. Giannis was crying, boo-hooing, and it's like, But again, the
NBA championship doesn't matter. They didn't grow up.
Americans. We just don't care about much. We don't care about. We just take it. We don't have gratitude. Again, we are proud Americans in some extent, but it just depends on what it is. Like, you gotta move the real goalpost sometimes for us to actually care about something. I do say that we do unify for soccer. We unify maybe if it's like our guy who's like, or gal, like that is like very dominant in the sport, and we trying to keep the streak going. We're front runners for sure. Team USA fans are front runners. You ain't watched the other part of the sport until the Olympics, and you jump in and be like, Michael Phelps, that's my guy. Simone Biles, that's my girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, I ain't cared about a lick of gymnastics until then. Like, if we had a nice ass curling team, we would be the other day, not the other day, but a couple months ago, we beat was it Pakistan for fucking cricket?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And we were hyped, bro.
Yeah.
We were hyped. I seen people like, yo, hell yeah. But it was like, again, jumping on the bandwagon of potentially caring about a sport. Go ahead, say it, Jerv.
I don't believe that Tom really knows what you're talking about. That was
what
my laughter was for.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I didn't see the Pakistan.
But yeah, but we beat Pakistan in cricket, which is a big deal.
That's huge.
But guess what? Who's on our team?
A bunch of Pakistanis.
Pakistani Americans.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Crazy as hell. But
yeah,
the same way the French has Africans on their team. We just kind of, you know what?
Giannis doesn't look like me. I'm a quarter Greek. Yeah, Giannis doesn't look like me. So they're proud to have Giannis in the fold. In the same way, we're proud to have Joel Embiid playing for the American national team, which maybe we'll get Jokic and Embiid here in a couple weeks, which is really going to be fun. Let me explain the Team USA select team that got to play in scrimmage against LeBron and co. this week. Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is the only college player on the select team, I believe, that got the call up, and it's weird. Who's running Team USA now? Who is it? Jerv, do you remember who's running Team USA?
Tom, we're not going to do that. This upstanding gentleman he has earned his right to represent his country. I don't believe that there was anything other than that is in the reason.
Your answer is Grant Hill.
Oh, Grant Hill. That's right. Grant Hill. Oh, yeah. Ace Bailey. Did Ace Bailey make the team?
He did not.
Oh man, where's he committed? It's not
Rutgers.
Duke, right? Oh,
He's
Rutgers.
not. He is not the projected number 1 pick in next year's draft. You know,
Hold,
there's a
hold, hold,
theme.
hold on.
Hey, as of this recording, I'll save
As of
myself
this,
with that. As
okay,
of
there
this
you go.
recording,
There you go. There you go. I love Ace. Love Ace. Things could go great for him. Things
Yeah.
could go great for Cooper. Cooper's my young them my kids, man. Like I spent a good time with them. They're great guys and great basketball players, better humans.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I think Ace or Cooper Flag could have gone number 1 in this year's draft if they were eligible to be part of it. So Jerv, I'm just messing with you, man. Cooper had a couple possessions there guarding from what I saw guarding LeBron. And it's just like when they were dapping up after the game, LeBron is just so much bigger than Cooper, and I'm like, oh yeah. That kid's 17 or whatever, and LeBron's 40. Not only does he have NBA strength, he's got that old man strength going. And I am counting myself as an old man there. Considering
welcome
I'm like,
to the club, sir.
Yeah. So, one thing that was weird was the select team has listen to these names. You got Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Suggs, Amen Thompson, Keegan Murray, Peyton Pritchard. Shout out to Peyton Pritchard. Brandon Pajemski, Brandon Miller, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Langston Galloway.
Love Langston. Great guy.
I was like, yo, is there a Langston Galloway Jr. I didn't know about? But no, that's Langston Galloway. He is the veteran. He's the vet.
Langston Galloway has been the leader of the USA Team Select through FIBA play for the past 4 years now. So, company man continues, but I guess more so on the leadership of like this is how it goes and the integrity of it. But I would love for Lang to get another shot at the league, man. Great guy, great father, great person. Took it on the chin, went overseas, won over there, and continues to represent his country the right way. So shout outs to Langston.
Well, does Daryl Morey still have cap space there in Philly? Maybe we can make it happen, or
Jerv don't care about that.
No. We have our eyes on probably a little more, no disrespect, sexier names.
Like Markelle Fultz. He's a free agent again.
Oh yeah. Bring him home.
He doesn't play for my team anymore.
This is your team. There's sports radio here is definitely weird. They are 1,000% bringing up some oldie, not goodie names, and Markelle Fultz is one of them. That guy that used to wear number 25 is another name that seems. And you know what, man? God bless them, but I'm okay. We've been there, done that. No need to do that again. Maybe
don't get back with your ex.
No, this is not getting back with your ex season. Okay, we did not lose all this weight. Get in the gym, right? Make a couple dollars just to get back with our ex. Nah. We have our eyes on some better prizes.
I feel like they could use a point guard from Australia, kind of a big guy who because Tyrese Maxey, you can't have another small guy out on the floor. Are there any names out there on the market? Let me just see. What's Ben Simmons? You said 25. Oh, that he wore 25 with the 6. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Picking up.
He makes too much money. So he makes way too much money. So we don't even have to entertain that, right? Like we're good. We're definitely not shifting things around in order to get him onto the roster. No. If this was next year, if we had this team next year, I would not consider it, but I would definitely think it would be even crazy. No, I would never. No, actually, I'm good.
It would only he makes $40 million an expiring deal this year. So the only way that he would ever come over is if he's waived. And they're like, we're just going to eat the contract, which would be crazy. In terms of like the downfall of Ben Simmons, but he's got another year left on his contract. $40 million. There's no contract that you could really trade him for on the books. So it's not gonna happen. So that's just Philly Sports Talk Radio. Just like, hey, this isn't gonna happen. There's 0% chance it's gonna happen, but let's talk about it anyway. That's great Sports Talk Radio.
They loved you, by the way. I meant to tell you, they loved you a couple days ago, a week ago, whenever the day was that your amazing article came out that made you what Mr. Stat Face
Mr.
Is that
Statistician face, man.
Mr. Statistician face man? Yeah, they loved
Yeah.
you, so I wanted to let you know.
Khalil Ware also loves me. Apparently, loved the article. So Khalil Ware put Michael Jordan
another one of my guys
on Mount Rushmore tray, and then took him off because he had heard that some of his stats might have been fabricated. So, like I just love that. It's like, Michael, no, you know what? I'll put Bam Adebayo instead. So
Bam Adebayo being on there was crazy. It was another wild name on there too.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, that was young. He was very young. But again, Khalil's 19, going to be 20. Great kid. Had a great year after leaving Oregon to go to Indiana. He's going to be great for the Miami Heat. So he should have been #1 pick to me. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I mean, that's great. I mean,
we're gonna do a redraft. We'll do a redraft. Okay. One day.
Yeah, this one has potential to be the Anthony Bennett draft, where it's just like, wait, what were we thinking? And there's not really a clear. There's a rule of 3. So there's a rule of 3. Every draft has at least 3 All-Stars. That's going back to 1989. Every single draft has 3 All-Stars. And so you're saying Khalil Ware is going to be one of them. I say Reed Shepherd's going to be another one, and I think Devin Carter is going to be the third. If we're going for the coming home squad. Who do you like? Who are your 3 that you feel strongest about in that class? Klingon? You like Klingon?
I'm not crazy about Klingon.
Steph Castle?
I really like. I'm looking at it right now.
Reese, did you like the Reese Shea guy, the Frenchman?
So
that went #1.
I'm gonna go with, and this is probably gonna age like bad milk, but I'm gonna go Cody Williams.
Oh yeah, J Dub's little brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Khalil Ware. And I really like the who is this here? Potentially maybe
Kyle
Jacoby
Filipowski is the name you're looking for.
Nah, maybe Jacoby Walter. I like Jacoby Walters. What Jacoby Walters' chances in Toronto?
No chance for McCain?
No, because I think he's gonna be a good player. I really think he's gonna be a good player. I think I'm curious to see the other part of his game outside of shooting, because I don't want to typecast him and call him a Jody Meeks or Jody Meeks had 50 points, by the way, so don't frown.
Oh, whoa!
But I'm just
I got love for Jody Meeks, my guy.
No, okay.
Oh yeah,
no, I'm just saying. Okay.
No issues over here.
Okay,
big fan of Jody Meeks in this household too. Yeah. My wife, big Kentucky fan. So when he dropped 50 on Tennessee, I want to say it was. Yeah, this place was popping.
But Jody can get that shit rocking at any time. He's a microwave guy. And I think Jarrett has a chance to be one of those guys that can go off and have 4 to 5 threes for Philly potentially this season. But like I said, I'm curious to see how well of a defender he is, and can he, put the ball on the ground and get to the rack when they need him, or again, does he just become the standardized catch and shoot guy? We don't know. But I'm rooting for his success.
If he has a Seth Curry career, I wouldn't be surprised. 10 years in the league, elite 3-point shooter, can get buckets and surprises people with playmaking in a couple years.
That's a win.
That's a big win.
That's a win.
In today's NBA, if you can be a late lottery pick or a 15, 16, 17 in this draft and still have a 10-year career, the odds are against you in the NBA. If you're drafted in that range, most players don't make it 10 years in the league. So if he has a Seth Curry career and makes that kind of impact, I think players would be happy. Of course, everyone, I think if Jerv was saying, oh, we just got the next coming of Seth Curry, you'd be like a little disappointed, but you have to look at the attrition rate in the NBA. The attrition rate in the NBA, Seth Curry is a great, great career for someone drafted at that slot. So second gen guys, Reed Shepherd, Devin Carter, those are my other 2 picks. Thanks again. Coming Home podcast. That's a long intro. So, Jerv, I want to talk to you about this Paul George podcast that he did. Are you excited for the Paul George podcast?
excited
He's
is
airing a lot of shit right now, man.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of that. But it's cool right now. But I can definitely see that this is going to get annoying. But I am here for it. I am one of those individuals that understands that when you sign up for certain people, this is what comes along with it. So when you get those whatever, that top 10-ish, top 15 guys that are marketable, et cetera, the marketability comes along with it. So I'm not going to listen to the podcast, but I will, until I will definitely be interested to see what happens when we lose like 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah. Because I'm like, yo, you got the most social media savvy GM in Daryl Morey, like very public GM in terms of the job usually doesn't have social media stars, but he's always on Twitter doing stuff. You also have Joel Embiid, who's a social media troll, and you have Paul George, who has his own podcast. So as much as you want to say that James Harden is a locker room disruptor or may not be a great leader or whatever, he's not airing out stuff in a podcast like Draymond might be or Paul George might be. And now you got it with, I wouldn't say a combustible locker room, but I would say a combustible situation is just Joel Embiid and the reliability. They were a 7 seed last year. A lot of expectations coming in for the Sixers this year. And if they do go in that like 3-game, 4-game slide, it could go sideways real fast. And we already hear it from Paul George that the off-court stuff does get into his mind a little bit. In this clip with Podcast P, the show, he explains that the contract negotiations last year with the Clippers did impact his play because the Clippers offered him a 2-year, $30 million a year extension last year, which he said in his words was disrespectful. And they kept moving the extension talks a little bit inch by inch, 2 years, 45. And he was like, okay, why don't you just give me the Kawhi deal? And Kawhi Leonard got a much better package than that. And they would not offer him the Kawhi deal. So he's like, all right, fine. Let's go to the open market. We'll see how things go. And he didn't get the 4th year. He wanted to be back, he said. But it's very rare that you get a minute by minute or a play by play breakdown of contract negotiations. And here's Paul George just being like, here's the money. Here was the offer. Here were the multiple offers that they made. And at the end of the day, the initial offer was disrespectful. And I decided to leave. And they would not meet me halfway and basically be like, hey, we'll give you the Kawhi Leonard deal. And I kind of just think Clippers didn't really want him back. That's my sense, is like he's a more dependable star in terms of games played and health than Kawhi Leonard. But they weren't willing to go to the Kawhi Leonard territory with Paul George. And now the Sixers get to reap the benefits. So Trey, Paul George airing out the kind of play-by-play and contract negotiations. How did that land with you?
I mean, good for Jerv.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's the one way I could probably, and I had told him, like, the crazy thing about it, we had potted, like, I guess before. And I was like, And then I like texted him right before it happened. Remember that? I was like, yo.
Oh, yeah. I remember it vividly, my friend.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, he's going to be a Sixer. But, I mean, cool. Whatever makes him happy. I think the stuff that it gets old, because I respect Paul George as an all-star and a talent in this league and what he does well. I think the disdain on it is, just the whole most of these players, man, let Kobe rest, bro. I'm off that whole Mamba mentality type thing, man, because like none of these dudes are really living it up like Kobe did, and it's kind of hard to replicate. That's why he's one of the greats. But the whole number dedication thing, like, if you really gonna go all the way in, and especially in Philly, we're 33, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like certain situations like that. That's how I looked at it. But I think he's going to be very good for Philly. And again, like he's a dependable all-star, like you said. So that sucks on the part that that's what Philly's inheriting, because Joel's also a dependable all-star. You know what I'm saying? Where you rely heavy on the health, elite talent players, but when you rely heavy on that, that's the part. And also, I just really didn't like how he did his teammates on the pod. Just saying like, oh, there was one play where he had to go play defense and then he had to go run. And then he was like, I'm exhausted. I can't do both. And it's just like, that's excuse, man. Like, just hoop and play the game that's given to you at that particular time. Because you're not going to be able to predict everything. Some games you're going to struggle with your shot.
That was Paul George lightning strike, trying to shut up Trey there. Jerv. I feel like what he's saying is true, is like, even if Paul George is accurate in what he's describing and why he wasn't happy in LA, it still doesn't come off well. And so I think you're hoping that he decides to go on a hiatus with this podcast, because it really isn't about him and getting the clicks or the downloads. What it really comes down to is, when that shit goes viral, how does Joel feel? I know Maxey probably doesn't give one flying F about what Paul George says. He just wants to hoop. But like, other guys have egos about him or want to chase a championship or win a championship. And if they feel like Paul George is feeling a certain way because of how he's expressing himself on his podcast, he's got to explain that in the locker room. And he wanted a no trade clause. He wanted Kawhi's deal, 3 years, $150 million extension with a no trade clause. And the Clippers were not willing to meet him there. And then now he's airing his grievances, and you're rubbing your hands together, excited. All right, no trade clause, great. Come on over. Daryl Morey won't trade you. He would never do such a thing. You're good here.
Stand-up individual, sir. Except for the times where he's a liar. Allegedly a liar. Don't want to put that on that man.
Isn't that fascinating that Paul George is basically like, I don't believe you, James Harden?
Is it that he didn't believe Harden, or is it realistic to understand why he might have lied to him, right? Like, going into that season, of course, as long as you play like this, you're good. And then your play gets worse, and then you find out about the business aspect of things. So while I'm pretty sure that he was promised, you'd have to be real, especially with Paul George being in the locker room with him too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was watching from afar. He saw him every day. So he might have saw some things, I don't know, that made him say, all right, I can kind of see why they didn't want to give you, 40 a year or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, but he was questioning Daryl Morey's character by going nuclear with that. He's a liar on Chinese, on Chinese soil. Basically, there's those quotes, and then where you said those quotes, right? And your audience for those quotes. And so he hit Daryl Morey with an incredibly accusatory question to character. And they just spent the whole season together. And I'm guessing that conversation came up, is just like, yo, how was your time in Philly? Like, how'd it go? I'm glad you're over here. And when you're on the same team, like, you have a certain trust level to, like, be a little bit more open. These are my guys. We're on the same team together. And I wonder what those conversations were like, because Paul George is gone now in Philly, and James Harden signed an extension in LA. And I just can't imagine that locker room. It went very well. Trey's dealing with some technical difficulties over there, but what we should be doing is talking about this DeMar DeRozan trade. 3-team trade. DeMar DeRozan goes from Chicago, who is consistently going through the hamster wheel mediocrity. Arturas Kornishovas, the GM, had not made a trade in like 2 years, right? And now he's traded away Alex Caruso and DeMar DeRozan in a matter of weeks. So he's kind of blowing things up. Of course, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, we'll see if they're going to be part of the team in a couple months. But they're reloading here. They're moving DeMar DeRozan to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for some basically salary cap relief. They got the Chris Duarte contract. and some seconds. But in order for them to make this deal with Sacramento, Sacramento rerouted Harrison Barnes to the Spurs. He's got a year left on his contract, or 2 years left on his contract at like $18-19 million. But the real interesting thing for me is the Spurs got a 2031 pick swap from the Sacramento Kings to facilitate this deal. Basically, to take Harrison Barnes, 2 years left on his deal. We'll take on we'll do that in exchange for we're gonna pick for you in 2031. That's a long time from now. It stresses me out thinking about what the life is like going to be like in 2031. So in 7 years, they're betting that San Antonio is going to be a lot better than Sacramento in 7 years. When you have Victor Wembanyama, that makes a lot of sense. And 7 years older, Domantas Sabonis, 7 years older, De'Aaron Fox. That's a whole different team. And they're betting that the Kings will become the Kings of yesteryear. And they're going to basically have a much better lottery position if they can hold that 2031 Sacramento Kings. Remember, Jason Tatum. How did the Boston Celtics draft Jason Tatum? Jerv, I'm leaving you out of this. How did the Boston Celtics draft Jason Tatum at number 3 in 2017? It was because of the pick swap.
Jason Kidd trade, right? The Paul Pierce KG.
Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett trade. The Sixers traded down to traded up to get Markelle Fultz, but the Boston Celtics had the number 1 overall pick in a year they had they were a 53-win team. They're a 53-win team, and they got the number 1 overall pick, and Jerv is crying right now because they could have had Jason Tatum. They decided to go for Markelle Fultz. But the moral of the story is these pick swaps, while it's not likely that it will turn into an all-NBA player in Jason Tatum, the Sacramento Kings typically are not a team that is going to be picking outside the lottery. So at 2031, that's interesting. But DeMar DeRozan goes to the Sacramento Kings. They need more shot creation. They got Malik Monk back, De'Aaron Fox. Malik probably coming off the bench. Maybe he starts. They have Keegan Murray. They have Kevin Huerter. They also have DeMar DeRozan, who will be playing presumably at the 4 in this team. Domantas Sabonis at the 5. I have questions about their defense, but talk to me, Trey, about the swapping out Harrison Barnes and bringing in DeMar DeRozan and what that brings to the Kings. What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people grade this bad, you know what I mean? Just because, I don't know. Statistically, he had a better year than fucking Paul George, but it is what it is. I do think that this gives the Kings an edge to do a right now thing. To like really take advantage of the very loose Pacific Division. You know what I mean? Like I think there's very spotties. The normal leaders, that are usually at the top, now have some holes in it, right? The Warriors, the Clippers, even the Lakers are a little questionable at times. You know what I mean? And the Suns, they're still trying to figure out their bench situation, but they still have those 3 players. But it was one of those now or never things, like people love De'Aaron Fox. I do too. I think he's a top 5 point guard in this league. But there's like an inconsistency with Domantas. And I think DeMar kind of helps cushion. But at 35, it's still kind of one of those things of like DeMar wanted to get paid. And he got paid 3 years, $74 million, which is good for him. He almost became a Miami Heat if Caleb Martin would have waited a little bit longer. But that's another conversation. So, yeah, I look at this scenario of like, look, man, Mike Brown, hell of a coach. I think DeMar is going to be able to help them close up games sometimes. But I do think that they need DeMar to shoot threes, which he does not enjoy doing. And also,
Jake Kidd didn't like doing it, and then he decided to at the tail end of his career to keep himself, adapt or die. Yeah,
I think he can shoot it. I just don't think that he relies on it. He's a very long 2 guy, and mid-range assassin. But they also run, so we'll see. Because DeMar DeRozan is a very half-court player. He's kind of like in the pocket of the Joe Johnsons and the Paul Georges of ball dominant small forwards. So we'll see. But I like it, man. I'm glad, you know what I mean? Not to make Kendrick Lamar sound like a prophecy. You know what I mean? A prophet. I was going to say prophecy. A prophet on saying that, you know, teams didn't really, you know, love on DeMar as they should. And now he's coming back home. And he did come back to his home state, not to LA. So, it worked out.
Yeah.
Now, on the Clippers, Clippers are the ones with the ass out right now. I don't know what the Clippers is doing. I have no idea what the Clippers is doing.
Russell Westbrook, apparently they wanted him in Denver, but he's still figuring things out. Yep, still a Clipper. And then, of course, you got James Harden back, Kawhi back. But outside of that,
and now you signed all these fucking small forwards. Kevin Porter Jr., Derek Jones Jr., Nicholas Batum. Like, what are y'all doing over there, bro? That's like when you like fall asleep during fucking fantasy draft, and you let him auto
Denver's falling asleep.
The last Denver's 9 and 13. Yeah, Calvin Booth got his head up. I mean, you know, that's a whole other conversation. Calvin Booth is kind of acting like he's Tim Connolly, and you know, riding that one championship off and letting guys like Bruce Bowen and KCP roam, my new shooting guard. You know, and I like Christian Braun, but I don't know if he's there yet for him to fill those shoes. Same for Peyton Watson. I like Peyton Watson too, but like they don't score.
Yeah. I do want to leave some time here for you to tell the people about your team now. So Jerv, you've got the Sixers. I've got who's ever is going to sign Ish Smith this year. That's my team. And then of course, Trey, you put it up to the people to decide who's going to be your team this upcoming season or beyond. I don't know, but tell the people what you did.
I heard I Hillary Clinton my own election, apparently, because I saw the replies and then I like did this poll, and I did. The poll had me being a New York Knicks fan, and I couldn't do it.
Oh,
wait, the Knicks won?
The Knicks won.
Yo, so this wasn't. Oh, I thought that they picked your team for you.
I mean, the thing was they tried to flood the boxes on purpose, which was kind of whack. You know what I mean? Because I live here and I get it. And it's also like hilarious to just see me be a Knicks fan. It's just enjoyable. I like the Knicks. I think they're good, but it wasn't genuine. You know what I mean? Like they spawned the fucking
bandwagoning the Knicks doesn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. Like it wasn't genuine. Like I looked at the poll and the Magic were clearly winning. And then I like looked and it was just all of a sudden I got 274 votes. And I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Who sent somebody over there to do that? Like, it's not that deep for one. Like I said, I like when the Knicks are good and I enjoy watching from afar. But I wanted to like have a decent fresh start of a team that's like on the up and up, but like not like top 5. You know what I'm saying? Where I could grow with the team. And I thought the Orlando Magic was good. I like Paolo. I like the Wagner boys. Them landing KCP. He's an old homie from Detroit. I had some bad things to say about Jalen Suggs in the playoffs. So I got to delete my tweets, you know. Yeah. But, I mean, they have a chance to have
JJ Redick kind of like erase the whole Anthony Davis not on his all defense teams.
You know how it goes. You dislike them till they are on part of your squad. So I think Suggs and KCP could have a very good defensive backcourt. I'm still interested in. I have a appetite for signing Tyus Jones. Love him over there.
Love Tyus,
but I don't know if that'll actually happen. What'd you say?
Yeah, Dookie. He's a Dookie.
Oh yeah, no, great kid. I mean, he can play. He can play. I think he has yet to be in the right situation outside of that Minnesota situation early on. And yeah, man, not Minnesota. Where was he at? Memphis. But yeah, I like Jamal Mosley and how he coached them, and they're very strong. Like them boys defend. And I got a chance to really get to learn about the team the past week talking to Quentin Richardson because he does commentary for them, which I kind of was like hip a little bit, but he was like, yeah, them boys, da 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 da. And I was like, you sounded like Stacey King right now, but cool. Because it's a little biased, but I'm with it. I'm with it. And I also said that I would actually go to some games. So the commute to Orlando isn't that bad, and them tickets aren't that expensive. So and the Orlando Magic followed me back immediately. So that was kind of cool to like be a part of the kingdom. Now I'm a part of the kingdom. They even got a cool song. It's Orlando Magic, Orlando Magic. So I'm down. I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna be a true fan like Jerv. I'm gonna start wearing jerseys and shit. Like this is 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, just tell the kids about the second part of my life. You know, early on as a child, I was a Bulls fan, then went into media, and now I'm an Orlando Magic fan. And when the story comes out of how you became an Orlando Magic fan, NBA Twitter.
Should I get down?
But anybody
could
have had me go over there to where they were supposed to go.
Yeah, we got them working all over town. I'm just thinking, we got to get a little Penny, little Trey bobblehead. You know, I think we lost him again.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, losing you a little bit here, but we got all the good stuff on Orlando, which is the important thing. Everyone, go check out the live show. Tickets at countthedings.com. Go buy them. Go make a trip. Go ask your buddies what they're doing for that weekend. It's 2 Saturdays from now, July 20th at Racket in New York City. Go make a trip of it and hang out with us in New York. I just booked my flight and hotel, and I'm going to be there. So I'm excited, fellas, to see y'all. And we can do this again next week. Appreciate y'all. And again, countthedings.com. Go buy your tickets to our live show, July 20th. See me, Trey, and Jerv in the flesh, as well as Anthony Mays, who's off this week, and the rest of the gang. So enjoy your holiday week after the 4th. Keep milking that July 4th weekend into this week, and we'll talk soon.